Hi, this is Win Claybaugh. Welcome to my Best of Masters weekly audio blog for AmericanSalon.com. Next up is one of my favorite clips from the last 20 years of inspiring interviews from Masters Audio Club. People leave a mark on the industry, but what happens on the day when you decide to no longer, show up for work? What happens with the knowledge and the creativity that you have? Obviously, you've given some thought to that, correct?
Yeah, of course you think about it, and you decide the fact that I think Michael is the perfect person for me to hand things down to, and he will hand it down to the next people he starts to teach. So it's a natural progression. So you try to seek out people similar to yourself who have dexterity of hand, good thought process, good mind, passion, commitment, and Michael has all that, and you just instill it upon him, and you have great fun doing it. And I get actually more pleasure watching him do the work and me shouting at him, moaning at him to say, do it like this, no, do it like that. It really is quite interesting to see, because hairdressing evolves. Like tennis or soccer, it gets better and better. So in this day and age, I see things that Michael does and other people do that are superior to what I did, because things change and move on.
I want to give our listeners more information on Robert Lobetta, not that we need to. Now, first of all, I had the pleasure of interviewing several years ago with Masters, and that was a great experience. I came to your home, and your lovely wife, Kay, was there, which I think was kind of cool because she was in the background, and you could see her, and I would watch you, like you would answer a question, and then you look at her, like, was that okay, honey? Did I say the right thing?
It hasn't changed. It's exactly the same now. Kay, is that all right? And you can hear it, and everyone actually laughs at it.
Right.
Because she has the final say, funnily enough. Always.
That's cool, though.
Even last night, what I was going to say, no, you don't need to say that. You need to say this. So, always.
Now, people, actually, even I think Bruno Mascolo said it last night when he was talking about you from the podium, that people call you the Salvador Dali of the beauty industry. I got to read that wonderful quote from your biography: instantly recognizable, often provocative, and sometimes bordering on the obscene. Mm-hmm. You smile when that's said about you. And I love, you love the irreverence side of it, don't you?
I think what I like is that idea of how far can you take something, whether it's a show, whether it's an image, whether it's a statement, and does it border on obscene? I suppose not quite obscene for me, but more something that will challenge people's perception, okay, that will push our industry a little bit closer to that, should we say, more decadent, dark side, I always put it to. So I often lean on something that is a little bit, should we say, frightening to certain people, but not to some of us.
Right. It's challenging.
It's challenging, yes.
Again, you've received so many different accolades. I talked to Vivian McKinder yesterday. I told her that I was going to be interviewing you, and she was so excited, and the things that she says about you, that you refuse to accept boundaries, you never compromise on your art form. I remember interviewing you when I think you said something along the lines that even though you have a clear idea of what you're trying to create, at the same time you're hoping for the mistake. Yeah. You're hoping that something goes wrong or something is a surprise to you and was not part of what you had planned, and sometimes that's the image that you capture, that's the look that you go with.
I think that's in everything I do somehow, because once I get an idea about something, the problem is the idea is fixed in your brain, so when you reach that optimum end result, you knew it was going to be like that, so it no longer becomes a surprise. So therefore you're looking for that sort of surprise that will take you in a different direction, one you hadn't thought of. And those sort of things that happen, like if I'm shooting something and the lights don't go off and I've only got one light that flashed, and I look at that and go, wow, did I do that? That looks really cool. Why didn't I think of that before? Well, I didn't think of it before because it was an accident. And those accidents that happen to me, I find is sort of how I achieve just about everything. I'm looking for that 30% that will take me somewhere I never would have thought of. And that's the key thing. I think if you can sort of lock that in your brain and try and find different things, it's like anything. Even if you're doing hair, you screw it all up and it looks hideous. There'll be one element that takes you somewhere else where you need to go. And I think, funnily enough, Michael and I, when we're doing things, we have had some wonderful disasters. There was one disaster.
Wonderful disasters.
Oh, we have had a disaster one time. And Michael and I, when we finished doing this head of hair that looked like wood chips, and then we put it did look like wood chips, and then unfortunately we decided that we would put some smoke, and it looked as if her head was sort of burning with this wood chip hairstyle. It truly was probably the most hideous thing we've ever done, to the extent that...
Are you saying that we're not going to see this image anywhere?
You will never see this.
Oh, okay.
In other words...
So sometimes it doesn't work out.
No. A lot of things that we do go through, should we say, an experience, and it's a little journey that we go on. But unless we go through that system of doing it, and it's a bit like, can we do it that way? Well, that looks good like that, but then what about if we did it like that? Well, no, let's take it around there. And then you end up going through this whole system of trying many different ways to do it, and then eventually you get to something that you quite like.